The night was calm, but the desert wind was strong. Ryan, a quiet mechanic, was closing his small workshop. He liked the silence and the stars above. Most people in his town did not understand him. He did not talk much, and he preferred working with machines. He knew how to fix almost anything with wheels or engines. That night, while locking his door, he saw something strange in the sky. A bright light moved fast, and then disappeared behind the hills. Curious, Rayan decided to follow the light. He took his old truck and drove toward the place where he last saw the bright flash. The sand was soft, and the wind blew hard. It was hard to see anything far away, but he kept going. After a few minutes, he stopped near a rocky place. There, lying on the sand, was a woman. She wore shining armor that looked like it was made of metal and light. The armor was strange and not from this world. The woman looked tired and hurt. Rayan carefully went closer. The woman opened her eyes slowly. She looked at him with fear but also hope. She said softly, "Please help me." Her voice was different, but gentle. Rayan did not ask many questions. He knew she needed help. He helped her sit up and saw some scratches on her face and arms. She did not speak his language well, but she understood enough. Rayan took her to his small home. It was simple but clean. He gave her water and a blanket. She was cold and tired. She looked around the house with wide eyes, like she had never seen a place like this before. Rayan tried to talk to her, but she only smiled a little. She pointed at her armor and then at herself, as if asking if it was okay. The next day, Rayan went to his workshop to find tools to help fix her armor. He wanted to understand where she came from. He found strange materials on the armor, things he never saw before. The armor was not heavy, but it looked very strong. It glowed softly in the dark. The woman, whose name was Alira, told him some things. She said she was running away from her home, a far place in the stars. She did not want to go back. She was afraid. Rayan listened carefully. He did not understand everything, but he felt she was telling the truth. Alira stayed in Rayan's house for many days. She slowly became stronger. She helped him with small tasks, and he showed her simple things about Earth. Sometimes they sat outside at night and looked at the stars. Alira told him about her home planet, about the big cities in the sky and the people who wore armor like hers. She said they had strict rules and expected her to follow them. But she wanted freedom. Rayan felt a strange connection with Alira. She was not like anyone he had met before. She was brave but also scared. He wanted to protect her. Sometimes he worried about what might happen if her people found her. But he did not say it out loud. One evening, while Rayan was fixing a machine in his workshop, Alira suddenly stood up. She looked at the sky and said, "They come soon." Rayan felt a cold feeling in his heart. He knew her fears were real. That night, Rayan stayed awake to watch over her. They sat together in the small living room. Alira touched the armor, gently. She said, "This armor keeps me safe, but it also calls them." Rayan did not understand at first. She explained that the armor sent signals to her people. They could find her because of it. Rayan thought hard. He wanted to help her. He said, "Maybe we can stop it." Alira looked at him with hope. "Can you?" she asked. He nodded. "I will try." They worked together on the armor. Rayan learned more about its strange design. Alira showed him how it moved and changed with her feelings. It was like a second skin. But the armor was also a prison. It stopped her from feeling free. As they worked, Alira told Rayan more about her life. She said she was chosen to marry someone important, someone she did not love. She ran away because she wanted to choose her own path. Rayan admired her courage. He had never met anyone so determined. Days passed, and their bond grew stronger. Rayan felt happy to have someone to share his quiet life with. Alira smiled more and laughed softly, but the danger was still near. Sometimes strange noises came from outside. Sometimes the sky had lights moving fast. One day, Alira looked at Rayan and said, "I trust you." Her eyes were full of hope. Rayan felt a new kind of strength. He wanted to protect her no matter what. Their quiet life was about to change forever. After a few days, Rayan and Alira started to know each other better. She was different from anyone Rayan had ever met. Her skin was smooth and pale, and her eyes were a strange shade of blue-green that seemed to glow softly in the dark. She spoke slowly, trying hard to use simple words, but sometimes she mixed her own language with Earth's. Rayan was curious about her armor. Every time she moved, it made soft humming sounds. The armor looked like it was alive in some way. He wanted to understand it better, so he asked her more questions. Alira did not answer quickly. She seemed scared to talk about her past. But slowly, she told him some things. She explained that her people were from a distant planet far beyond the stars. They were very advanced, with strong cities in the sky and powerful technology. The armor was made to protect them and to help them fight. But for Alira, the armor was also a cage. It was heavy with rules and control. Her people expected her to be strong and follow orders. She was chosen for an important role, but she did not want to live like that. She wanted freedom. That was why she ran away. But running was not easy. They had trackers everywhere, and the armor sent signals that helped her people find her. Rayan listened carefully. He wanted to help her, but he did not know how. He felt a mix of fear and excitement. The story was like something from a science fiction book, but it was real. Alira was real. One evening, Alira showed Rayan how the armor worked. She touched it lightly, and the armor changed color from silver to deep blue. It seemed to respond to her feelings. When she was calm, it shined softly. When she was scared or angry, it glowed brighter and hummed louder. Rayan tried to touch the armor, but it felt warm and smooth, not like any metal he knew. He wondered if it was made from something alive. Alira said it was part of her culture, and she could not remove it easily. The armor was connected to her body and mind. Alira also told him about her home planet. It was a beautiful place with tall mountains, clear lakes, and skies filled with flying ships. But the people were strict. They had little choice in their lives. Alira's family was powerful, and she was expected to marry a man who could control many things. She did not love him and feared what would happen if she stayed. Rayan felt sad for her. He thought about how lucky he was to have the simple freedom he did. He promised Alira he would help her stay safe no matter what. As the days passed, Rayan and Alira spent more time together. She learned about Earth's small wonders, the taste of fresh bread, the sound of birds in the morning, the feel of the warm sun on her face. She laughed softly when Rayan showed her how to use a bicycle, though she fell off a few times. One night, while they sat outside watching the stars, Alira became quiet. She pointed to the sky and whispered, "They are close." Rayan's heart beat faster. He knew the danger was real and coming. Alira explained that her people were looking for her. They had ships and technology that could reach Earth. She did not want to run again. She wanted to fight for her freedom. Rayan asked, "What can we do?" Alira looked at him with hope and fear. "We must stop the armor from sending signals," she said. "But only someone I trust can do this. It is dangerous." Rayan felt nervous but ready. "I trust you too," he said. "Show me what to do." Together they worked on the armor. Rayan used his tools to open parts carefully, while Alira told him which wires and pieces were safe to touch. It was like solving a puzzle. Sometimes the armor reacted, changing colors or humming louder. but with patience, they found the part. That sent signals. Alira said, "If we turn this off, I will be vulnerable, but it will hide me from them." Rayan nodded. He understood the risk, but wanted to help. With a steady hand, he cut the signal wire. The armor stopped glowing and humming. It was quiet now. Alira smiled and hugged Rayan. "Thank you," she said. "You have saved me." But the moment was not safe for long. The next day, strange noises came from outside. Lights moved in the sky and shadows appeared near the town. Alira looked worried. "They are coming," she said. Rayan stood by her side. He did not know what would happen, but he was ready to protect her. He felt a new strength inside himself. That night, Alira removed part of her armor for the first time. She felt lighter but also scared. Rayan helped her, careful and kind. Without the armor, she looked more like a normal woman. Her eyes still shone with a strange light, but her face was soft and real. Rayan knew this was only the beginning of their journey. The world outside was bigger and more dangerous than he ever imagined. But with Alira by his side, he felt ready to face anything. The days after Alira removed part of her armor were quiet, but full of tension. Rayan noticed how different she looked without the heavy metal covering her body. She moved more freely now, but her eyes held worry. They both knew danger was close. Her people were still looking for her, and the armor's signal was off. That meant she was hidden, but also unprotected. One afternoon, as the sun shone brightly, Rayan and Alira sat together on a small hill near the town. They watched the sky and talked quietly. Alira explained more about why she ran away. "My people have rules," she said softly. "They want me to marry a man I do not love. He is powerful, but cold. I want to choose my own life." Rayan looked at her and saw the sadness in her eyes. "You're very brave," he said. "I want to help you, no matter what." Alira smiled. "You have helped me already," she said. "But we must be careful. They will try to find me again." That night, they made a plan. They decided Rayan would help hide Alira from those who chased her. He fixed a small room in his house where she could stay safe. They covered the windows and blocked any signal that might come from the armor or other devices. Alira worked with Rayan to learn more about Earth. She wanted to fit in and understand this new world. Rayan taught her simple things. How to cook, how to use a phone, how to stay calm when scared. Sometimes, Alira looked at her armor, now lying on the floor. It was silent and dark, but it still held power. She knew she might need it one day, but for now, she chose freedom over protection. One evening, Rayan heard a strange noise outside. He looked through the window and saw 3 figures walking near his house. They wore dark suits and moved quietly but with purpose. Rayan's heart beat fast. He woke Alira gently and told her what he saw. She stood up quickly, her eyes sharp. "They have found us," she said. "We must be ready." Rayan did not have weapons or armor, but he stood firm. "We face them together," he said. When the 3 strangers knocked on the door, Rayan opened it slowly. The tallest one spoke first in a cold voice. "We have come to take her home. She belongs to our world." Alira stepped forward, calm, but strong. She spoke in her language, but then switched to Earth's words. "I do not belong to you. I choose my own path." The strangers looked surprised. One said, "She cannot decide alone. She is part of a greater plan." Alira shook her head. "No, I am my own person. Earth is my home now." Rayan stood beside her, his eyes steady. The strangers looked at him and then at Alira. After a moment, they said, "This is not over. We will return." Then they left quietly, their ship rising into the sky with a bright light. Alira turned to Rayan, her face soft but serious. "They will come again, but I am ready." Rayan smiled. "So am I." From that night on, they watched the skies together. They knew the fight for freedom was just beginning, but they also knew they were not alone. Together, they had hope. After the warning from the strangers, Rayan and Alira knew they had little time. The next days were tense and full of quiet preparation. Rayan fixed the house to be safer, locking doors and windows, while Alira practiced moving without her armor. She wanted to be ready to protect herself, even without the heavy suit. Alira also taught Rayan about her world. She told him about the leaders who sent those men, and how they did not understand why she wanted to leave. "To them, I am a tool, not a person," she said sadly. "They believe my life is not mine to choose." Rayan listened and wanted to help. He was amazed by her courage and the strength she showed by standing up for herself. They became closer, sharing small moments of laughter and hope, even in the face of danger. One night, while they were asleep, the sky suddenly lit up with a strong blue light. Rayan woke up and looked outside. A large ship hovered silently above the town. It was different from anything he had ever seen, big and shining with many lights. The ship landed quietly in the field near Rayan's house. From it, 3 figures stepped down, wearing black suits that reflected the light around them. They moved like shadows, calm and powerful. Rayan woke Alira. "They are here," he whispered. Alira nodded and stood tall, no longer afraid. She knew this moment might come. "I will face them," she said. Rayan wanted to stop her, but she shook her head. "This is my fight." The strangers approached the house. The tallest one spoke again, his voice cold but respectful. "You cannot run forever, Alira. Your place is with us." Alira stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. "I choose my own place. I am not a prisoner." The strangers looked at her, then at Rayan. The second one said, "This is a mistake. Your people will not forgive this." Alira shook her head. "I do not care. I want to live free." Suddenly, the third stranger moved closer and touched, a small device on his wrist. The ship's lights flickered and a gentle hum filled the air. The strangers were ready to take her by force if needed. Rayan felt fear, but stood firm. He looked at Alira, who smiled bravely. Then she did something unexpected. She raised her hands and spoke a few words in her language. The air around her shimmered and her eyes glowed softly. The strangers stopped, surprised by her power. Alira's armor, though removed, seemed to react to her will. A soft shield appeared around her, protecting her and Rayan. The tallest stranger spoke again. "You have power, but Earth cannot protect you forever." Alira nodded. "Then I will protect myself, and this world is my home now." The strangers looked at each other, then slowly backed away. They entered their ship, which rose silently into the sky and disappeared among the stars. Rayan and Alira stood outside, breathing the cool night air. The danger was still there, but for now, they were safe. Alira looked at Rayan with gratitude. "Thank you for standing with me." Rayan smiled. "I will always stand with you." From that night, their bond grew even stronger. They knew the fight was not over, but together, they were ready for whatever came next. After the visitors left, Rayan and Alira knew their lives would never be the same. The danger from her people was still there, but for the first time, they felt hope. Alira was free to choose her own life, and Rayan was ready to help her live. Alira began to learn more about Earth every day. Rayan showed her the small joys of life, how to bake bread, how to watch the sunset, and how to listen to music on his old radio. Alira loved the simple things, things she had never experienced on her home planet. She laughed often now, and her eyes shone with a new light. Rayan and Alira grew closer. They talked late into the night, sharing stories about their pasts and dreams for the future. Alira told Rayan about the stars, the great cities in the sky, and the strict rules that had once held her captive. Rayan shared stories about his quiet life in the desert town and his love for machines. One day, Alira asked Rayan if she could try something new. "Can I try to live like a human?" she asked shyly. Rayan smiled and nodded. He took her to the town market where she saw people laughing, shopping, and living freely. Alira felt a strange happiness she had never known. She bought a simple dress and wore it proudly. Rayan watched her with admiration. She was beautiful, not because of her armor or powers, but because of her courage and kindness. Alira also worked to help Rayan in his workshop. She learned how to fix small machines and even helped build a small robot to clean the house. Rayan was surprised by her quick learning and clever ideas. Together, they made a good team. Sometimes at night, they still looked at the stars and remembered her past. But they did not feel fear anymore. They felt strength in knowing they had each other. One evening, Rayan asked, "What will you do if your people come again?" Alira thought for a moment. "I will stand and fight if I must, but I want to live in peace here. This is my home." Rayan reached out and held her hand. "You will never be alone." In the weeks that followed, they made a life together. Alira no longer needed the armor to protect her. She had Rayan, and she had hope. Their story was one of trust, courage, and new beginnings. A runaway alien woman found freedom on Earth, and a quiet mechanic found a friend and protector. Together, they faced the unknown, ready to write the next chapter of their lives, side by side.